Today, we are going to unpack a topic that I personally believe is the single biggest obstacle that stands in the way of you and your ability to achieve absolutely everything that you want in your life. And what is that obstacle? That obstacle is your fear of what other people think about you. We all have it. We worry about it. We care about what other people think. We try to manage what other people think. You probably don't even realize how much of a default it is for you to stop and consider what somebody might think before you post something on social media, before you say something at work, before you make the move that you've been afraid to make, before you start the conversation. You always stop and you consider what somebody else is going to think or do in response to it. And you don't even realize how often you do this. I didn't either until I discovered the let them theory and starting to learn to catch myself whenever I was considering what somebody else would think or how they might react and worrying about it and learning how to say let them. It has been life altering. And one of the reasons why I thought I got to dedicate an entire episode to this is because, first of all, you struggle with this. That's why you chose to listen to this. That's why somebody that you care about deeply forwarded you this episode, because they want you to stop worrying so much about what everybody thinks and live your life and be happy. But I'm here to tell you, you're not alone. Every single human being struggles with this. And so I thought, here's what we're going to do. We're going to unpack this today, because in the 35 press interviews that I've done so far for the Let Them Theory book, this is the biggest question everybody's asking. And I don't care who's on the other side of the microphone with me, whether it's Oprah Winfrey or the New York Times or it's Time Magazine or it is the Wall Street Journal. Everybody wants to know, how do I stop caring about what other people think? And that's what we're going to do today. And I'm so excited because I'm going to teach you this in a really special way. We're going to talk about this topic and I'm going to unpack it by sharing a conversation with you that I had with Chrissy Teigen. And before we even jump into it, I want to thank Chrissy. I want to thank her for allowing me to share this conversation with you, because we were talking on her new podcast and she was so open with what she's struggling with. And she struggles with what other people think about her. I mean, it's almost crippling to her that people would think something negative, that they would attack her. And she was so open about it. And on top of it, she allowed me to coach her. And I got in her face about this because it's really sad when you hold yourself back because you're afraid of something that you can't control. Because you're going to learn you will never, ever, ever be able to control or guarantee what another person thinks about you. Never. And so I not only got in Chrissy's face about this because I want her to have a breakthrough, but I need to get into your face about this because you need a breakthrough about this. Right now, you are holding yourself back because you're worried about what your friends from college are thinking, or you're worried about what your parents are going to be thinking, or you're worried about, what your boss is going to think, or this, or that, or the other thing. And more importantly, it's not even that worrying about it is the problem. It's the fact that you then aim it back at yourself. Like, I think it's fine to care what other people think. It's a sign that you're a good person. That's not the problem. The problem is how you hold yourself back, how you silence your opinion, how you use other people's opinions as a means to make yourself feel like you're not good enough as you are. That's going to stop today. And the reason why we struggle with this is because you believe that there's a way that you can behave that somehow can manipulate or guarantee that somebody will think a certain thing. I'm here to tell you, you can't. And any time and any energy that you pour into trying to manipulate or control or guarantee what somebody else is going to think about you is a gigantic waste of time and energy. And in fact, anytime you start worrying about what somebody else thinks about you, you actually cause stress and anxiety for yourself. The fact that you're worrying about what everybody thinks so much is actually a major source of stress. And there is an easier way to live. I am going to prove it to you today with the help of Chrissy Teigen. And it may surprise you that when you listen to Chrissy and you listen to her share, It may surprise you that when you consider her life, well, this is a woman that is so wildly successful. She's an extraordinary businesswoman. She has 4 amazing kids. She's got an incredible marriage to John Legend, and she struggles with this. And so from the outside, you see somebody who's succeeding, so you don't think that this is a person who feels misunderstood. You don't think that this is a person who feels like she's living in a prison of her own making. You don't think that this is a person who lives in fear that she's going to pass this on to her kids. And what is it that she's afraid she's going to pass on to her kids? Well, it's this fear of being misunderstood, this fear that people are criticizing her, this fear that she can never do anything right. And the let them theory is liberating in this regard, not only for Chrissy Teigen, but also for you and for whomever you share this with. And so I just want to thank Chrissy because she is giving me permission to share a few segments from her new podcast, Self-Conscious with Chrissy Teigen. And you can listen to the whole conversation that Chrissy and I had right now if you just go to audible.com/Chrissy and Mel. So on the opening of her podcast, I explained to Chrissy what the let them theory is. And in case you're brand new to the Mel Robbins podcast family, let me just share what the let them theory is to you as well. So the let them theory is a very simple mindset tool that shows you instantly what's in your control and what's not in your control. And there's 2 very simple parts to the let them theory. Part 1, you're going to use whenever you feel yourself starting to get frustrated or stressed out or annoyed or worried about what somebody else is doing, feeling, or saying. Just say, let them. Let them say what they're going to say. Let them think what they're going to think. I'm going to stop trying to control them and just let them. And the second step is when you say, let me. And when you say, let me, you remind yourself that in life, there's only 3 things you can control. It's what you think, it's what you do or don't do, and it's how you process the feelings that are rising up. And when you say, let me, this is where you get your power back. Let me remind myself that my power is not in what other people are doing. My power is always in my response. And when you focus on your response, and particularly you focus on showing up in a way that makes you proud of yourself, you're now in control of your life. And so I explained that to Chrissy on her new podcast, and this is what she had to say in response.
I can say that to myself all I want. I can say, let them think their thoughts, let yourself be misunderstood. It's okay. You have a wonderful family, wonderful friends, a wonderful life, but it is so incredibly challenging for me. The one thing I wish I could change was that I wish I weren't so misunderstood, and I wish people knew how good I was. And it's so desperate sounding and so sad, but that for me is my biggest battle in life.
Yeah, I'm so happy that she shared that because I don't think it sounds desperate at all. Haven't you ever had an experience in your life where you felt like you just wish that people didn't misunderstand you? That you wish people knew how good you were? How you had such great intentions? I think that's a really universal fear. And I was so glad that she actually shared that this is the one thing I wish I could change. I mean, just imagine what would change about your life if you really could just let people think what they think and you didn't worry about being misunderstood. And so, of course, I had to ask Chrissy directly, like, why are you so concerned about what other people think? And what is it exactly that you're afraid of? And this is what she had to say.
Since I was little, I really wanted to be loved, and I really wanted adoration and affection. I had a parent that was not very touchy-feely. I felt growing up that I was someone that she could show off. And so when I was little and going up to people and saying my words in Thai or doing what I was told and being good, I got really good feedback from that. And I got that feeling of always wanting to be really good for everybody. And it's been in me since I was little.
I think it's been inside all of us since we were little. I mean, if you just think about your own life, when did you get positive attention? It's when you were performing or you got good grades or the team that you were on won. And so what she's talking about here is something that so many of the psychologists and psychiatrists that have come on the Mel Robbins podcast talk about, which is the experience that you had when you were little, where you got positive attention, it kind of tells you, oh, when other people are telling me that I'm good, when other people are giving me positive attention, that's how I know that I feel good about myself. But here's the problem. As long as you locate your goodness and whether or not you're doing a good job as a person in the opinions and the moods of other people, you're never going to be in control of it. And that's why so many of us, whether it's Chrissy Teigen or it's you or it's me, we find ourselves in these situations in life where you're like, oh my gosh, why am I so concerned about what other people think about me? And as I explained to Chrissy, look, it's natural when you're a kid because you need to be cared for, to be deeply, deeply connected to the people around you and attuned to them and looking to them for positive signaling that you're okay and that you're good. That's what happens when we're kids. But when we are adults, we have to pull that back to ourselves. And that's where the let them theory is really going to change things. Because when you outsource your self-worth, when you outsource the positive affirmations to other people's opinions, you will never feel safe. And so I was explaining to Chrissy that you're really going to love the let them theory because it's going to teach you how to stop looking outside yourself for the thing that you're actually seeking. And as I started to explain this to Chrissy, that the more you can learn to let other people say what they're going to say, be who they're going to be, the better your life is going to get because you're going to understand that what you think about yourself is actually the most important thing. Every single human being struggles with this. We find ourselves in these situations in life where you're like, oh my gosh, why am I so concerned about what other people think about me? That's going to stop today.